Today's topic that we'll be covering is IELTS and how to prepare for it in less than a week. Before we go into the video, I'll just tell you a little bit about IELTS. So it's an English language testing system that basically tells how good your English is. It's scored out of a 9-band scale, and preferably if you think about the United States, most universities accept scores around or above 6 or 6.5. I personally got an 8-band, so that is why I'm making a video, and that's why I'll be going in depth. So we have four sections in which we are tested. There's listening, reading, writing, and speaking. So the first section is listening. Usually it doesn't really matter which way it goes. For example, sometimes the speaking can be done first or the speaking can be done at the end. So there's no fixed pattern for that, but I'll just be telling you guys about listening and then reading, writing, and speaking in that order. So listening is 30 minutes. It has 40 questions, and for each whenever you're done with answering questions, you're given 10 minutes to transfer the question at the end on an answer sheet. So in this section, there's around 4 recordings, and you will listen to each recording and answer a series of questions. So the first recording is basically a social conversation between two people. So you have to listen to it, and then you have to answer the questions accordingly. The second recording is going to be a type of a monologue. So, for example, you're probably going to be hearing about a radio program, about a match, or something like that. And you're going to be answering a few sets of questions for that as well. Then there's going to be the third recording, which is basically going to be a conversation between more than 3 people, around up to 4 people. For example, discussion about your final year project or something. So that's going to have a few questions as well, which you're going to be answering. And the recording number 4 is going to be a monologue. It's going to probably have academic situations, for example, a lecture on quantum physics or something like that. This is just an example. So the person will be talking in the audio about like steamships. So it's going to be a conversation between a customer and the person who's dealing with that customer. So they're going to be on the phone or a call or anything, and they're going to be talking about something regarding steamships, because this is what's saying over here. For example, can take photos of the dash that's around the lake. So maybe they're talking about, let's say they're talking about ducks. Now, in the audio, they're going to be talking, and the paragraph will go something like a woman speaking, saying, well, one benefit of taking the full tour is that you can take photos of the ducks that surround the lake. So immediately you're going to write ducks over here. And that's how this whole process goes. So this is an example. This is how it's going to go. Section 2 is going to have questions regarding like MCQs. This is how the second part is going to go. Then these are variables, so there can be up and downs. This is how one of them is going to go. So for example, you're going to be given these options, and then in the audio they're going to be like, oh, Joy Parkins was the head of the first aid department. So as soon as you hear it, Joy Parkins and first aid, then you have to match it. Similarly, section 3 is going to be MCQs as well. Some of it is going to be MCQs, some of it will be like sentence completion, whether it has a dash of its own. So let's say the example is that the person is going to say whether it has a budget of its own. So they're talking about budget. So it's going to be like whether it has a budget of its own. As soon as you hear it, you click it, you just go for budget. And you usually have 10 minutes to transfer the answers, so you can like write it on a piece of paper if you want. And boom, then it's this part where they're discussing about, the last part is like you have to fill in the blanks. And over here, like I mentioned, no more than 2 words. So you cannot fit more than 2 words. So the answer is many business values can result in huge success rate. So you only have to write huge success. Comment down if you need any other help. I will be uploading the rest of the parts, for example, the reading, the writing, and the speaking. And I will also be sharing my own experience on how I got an 8-band in only 2 to 3 days. And I will be sharing the recommended preparation links, as well as some tips and the PDF file for you guys to practice it on your own. Take care.